Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we've got this Craftsman 7 horsepower, 26-inch, 2-stage snowblower. I picked this up as a resale unit. It does run. The previous owner said it makes a noise when the augers are turning, but both the corners of the auger housing are bent in, and I'm sure the augers are hitting it. So we're going to bend those out first, but before we start to spin things. But it's going to be a resale unit. I got snow coming here in a couple of days. I want to get this thing done, turned around, and out on the front lawn. See if we can get rid of it within the next week or so. Stay tuned. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I literally picked this thing up like a couple hours ago. So I don't know anything about it yet. Let's do a couple of little preliminary things before we see if it runs. Well, I know that the recoil starter is broken. The cord is missing. And I got the handle on the bench. No, I don't have the handle on the bench. It's outside. I have the handle. But let's check for oil first. Let's see what we got for oil before we fire the thing up dry. It's over full. Not about a lot, but enough. When it's thin. Yep, it smells like gas. So it has sat with gas in it, and it's overcome the needle and seat in the carburetor and gone into the crankcase. We're going to change it anyways. It's not terrible. It's just about a quarter-inch over the full mark. What do we got for fuel? Oh, it's full. And fresh. Okay, that's good. At least it has a chance to run. It's got a really old spark plug in it. It's rusty. I don't know what year this machine is. I'm sure I could find out. I don't know for sure. It does have a throttle, so it's got an idle and a wide open. That's good. My Husqvarna doesn't. You fire it up, it's wide open. There is no idle. Everything appears to be here. Chute, yeah, chute works good. That's good because this assembly, control assembly, is very expensive if you have to replace parts in there. So the tilt works. Direction works. We're going to pull the belt cover off and have a peek at the belts. Gear shifter seems to work. Seems to move okay. We're still going to take the belly pan off and have a look-see. Feels like it's got about the right tension on the auger, on the drive control anyway. Oh, it's got one of those fancy interlocks. It's even got a pair of shear pins here, spares. 2 in the holders, and the 2 in this holder are missing, but that's fine. We should check to see if they are shear pins in here, not bolts. 3 and 4, there are 4 shear pins, and they're actually shear pins, and they're all in one piece. All right, well, let's say we got an electric starter on it. Let's say we grab a cord. See what happens. See what happens. Okay. On. Well, let's run it down on idle, see what happens. Choke. Let's see. Oh. Choke is off. It's idling. Well, that's good. Well, since it's running, what I'm going to do is I'll let it warm up. So I'll change that oil first. You can also see that there's a little bit of sweating of oil around things, like around the valve cover, the rocker cover, around the dipstick tube here. Just sweating. It's not normal for these, but if you have gas in your oil, it will do that. So I'm going to give it a couple of minutes and we'll get that oil changed. And then probably a spark plug. Fix the auger housing. This might be a quick one. All right, so I let it warm up, and then I drained the oil and refilled it. 3/4 of a quart of 10 to be a 30. Oil changes on these are relatively very simple. You just warm them up, and yeah. I'll put a block of wood underneath the front of the housing to tip it back, and then just take the cap off the pipe that's back here, and then drain it in a pan. Put the cap back on, fill her up, should be good to go. So, I also straightened out the auger housing while I was running. I just beat it with a hammer. I mean, it got bent with brute force, so I just fixed it with brute force. That's sometimes the way it just works. Let's get this off of here. I'll admit, when it was running, I tried the augers, because I straightened the hood. So, there's no noise from there, so there's not as if there's a bearing that's out of it. The support bearings on the side are quiet. The main bearing that goes through on the shaft for the gearbox, that's all quiet. There's a little mark where the auger may have hit the housing, but what I did hear was a belt slapping, the auger belt slapping the cover. So let's get that out of there. We get the cover off, and we're just gonna eyeball the belts anyways, because it's a resale unit, and I try to make sure that everything is good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the chute off. It's super simple on these. There's a wing nut here. Wing nut that goes straight through the top. And a clip here that holds a pin in. That pin will come out. And this whole unit should lift right off. There you go. Look at that. Remarkable. A lot more easy access to get your cover on and off. Well, it looks like 3/8 in there. Let me grab the tools. Usually it's just 2 bolts, one on each side to hold this on. Down at the bottom here. One here. There's grease all over it. Green grease. One on this side. The cover should come out. Oh yeah. Wondrous. And I can see here where the belt was slapping. Just a little spot right in here, the belt slapping. That's actually pretty common. No cracks in the belt. It's not full of grease. There's the drive belt is here and the auger belt is here. And there's the auger. Oh, that's the drive belt. Let's have a look, see. Tension appears good. It's spring loaded anyways, so it's like does not, you don't adjust it really. You can, there's some small adjustments here and there on some machines, but it's spring loaded. Doesn't need adjustment on this one. I'm gonna clamp that auger handle down just with a glue clamp. One of these glue clamps. Let's see what the tension's like on that. It's a little loose. There is no there's no tension on it really to speak of. I see why, and I'm going to show you. So there's a cable that runs, the cable is not adjustable. It's a solid cable from the handle to the hook on the back of this, the edge of the cable. And beyond that is a spring with a hook on it. That pulls the arm to tension the belt up. So ideally, when you pull the handle down, the cable should use up all the slack and then extend the spring a little bit. That's the tension that's going to be applied to the auger belts. If it's not adjusted correctly, you can tell when you put the lever down, watch the spring. If it doesn't stretch any at all, you know that the cable's too loose. It needs a little bit of stretch. There's probably a spec. There's probably a number. I usually make it so it stretches about 1/4 inch, 3/16 of an inch to a 1/4 inch, and it always seems to work for me. I'm sure there's a number, a measurement. If you want to get a micrometer out, you are welcome to do so. I just will not be doing that in this video. Let me show you how to adjust that. There's grease everywhere. Somebody took care of this machine and wanted to prevent rust and things, so. All right, let me wheel this around here before I throw my drill on the ground. This unit does not have steering, power steering. The pivots are there, but there's no levers and there's no mechanisms. So it's a solid axle. It doesn't turn very easily. I'm going to zoom in on the cable adjustment. Wow, look at that. I actually swung the camera the right way and I put the zoom the right way. Moving this bracket up loosens the cable. It's all the way up. It's as up as it goes. We need to move the cable down, effectively taking up some of that slack in the cable. 3/8. Just loosen it. It was almost all the way down. We're going to tension that up. That's too much, far too much. We'll snug that up. And I will check the spring. I'll get in your way here and check the spring. Not quite enough. A little less than 1/8 of an inch of stretch. A little more, just a little more. It was very loose. I've almost run the whole thing out of adjustment now. Let's see what that looks like. So, let me zoom you out so you see what we're doing here. Again, see, there you go, the wrong way. So now, I'm going to pull the lever down. That travel right there is just taking the slack out of the cable. It takes the slack out of the cable, it pulls the tensioner pulley against the belt, and then beyond that, that extra little travel right there is actually stretching the spring on the cable. That's what's applying the right amount of tension to it, and it's stretching about 1/4 inch. So, now you know how to do that thing. Some machines have a jam nut and a barrel nut that you gotta basically adjust the length of the cable here. That's a bit older. These ones are way different. Nice. Belts are in good shape. We don't need to replace them. We got to get into the drive yet, just to look, just to eyeball things, because it does seem to want to pull. I tried it while it was running and warming up. I just put it in gear and basically held it from moving, and the tires want to turn. They just spin on the hoist, so yeah, I gotta clean up some of this oil too. A little sweating. I'll just probably hose it down with brake clean and a blowgun and just make her look pretty. We also have to fix recoil because it's not, it's coiled. I can't uncoil it to, it's broken. All right, so I put the chute back together. It was just as easy as it was to come out. Just the clip in the wing nut. Got the 4 bolts out of the recoil starter and pulled it off the engine. And there's not a lot of room in here to be messing around with all kinds of fancy ways to do this. So there's a couple of ways you can. I'm gonna preload the spring first. Basically, pretending it's at full extension. I got about 6 feet of cord cut. That's probably enough. I'm just gonna turn it back so I can get the hole lined up in the pulley here where it's gonna be able to grab that rope. Well, that's the hope anyways. I don't know. I'm gonna use these little clamps here. Nurse clamp! Oh, he missed that. See if I can grab something in here. Just lock it. There we go. It'll be fine. It's okay. Yeah. Let's see if we can get this to feed in the hole and in the other hole. We may have to go the other way. Sometimes it's easier to go feed it from the inside out. Because it's tiny. Yeah, I don't think I would have got that through. I went through this way. It doesn't matter how it goes through, as long as it goes through. It's pretty close. Just watching it worm its way over. This is a small cord, and it's very tight in that hole. It doesn't want to flex. It's got a nice good knot on the inside of this. It's just a combination of needle nose pliers and a little screwdriver to get it to go where Didn't want to, but where I wanted it to go. That's a good knot. Let's see how much tension's on that. If it's enough to recoil the whole cord. Hang on to it. It's going to want to go shooting in there. Oh, I think it might be. Nope, it is not. A little more tension. See, now this is the mess. This is where you got to get a loop out and do a bunch of stuff. And I don't have that pick. Where's that pick? Try and grab the cord, lift it up in a gap here. There we go. So you lift your cord up through the gap and then you give it a wind. Oh, that's the idea anyway. Tensioning that pulley a little more. Come on, just do what I tell the people you're supposed to do. There should be 2 winds, that might be enough. Oh yeah, now it's not doing what I need it to do. Stuck. There we go. There we go. Now you're kind of behaving. Alrighty. Some of them are easier than others. Eh? Look at that. That's nice. Let's do the same thing. Let's clamp that. You can use vice grips. You can use the screwdriver jammed in there. You can use whatever you want, man. I have these. That's what I use. Up through the handle. Another good knot. That's good. That's enough. Nothing I hate worse than a dangly cord, one that's loose and flopping around. Just nice. Let's get back on. Tecumseh, 7 HPs. What's left on this after the recoil? Well, just the drive surface, I think. Just to eyeball things and make sure that things are where they're supposed to be and not where they're not supposed to be, and as tight. The things that are supposed to be tight are tight, and things that are supposed to move are moving. Oil's in it. New spark plug because I just felt like it. Choke. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to lower the thing, flip it on its nose, and we'll get into the drive service. Let's see what we got going on inside the innards here. This is a Craftsman machine, not built by Murray, not built by AYP, not built by Husqvarna. This one is built by MTD. I'm going to say there's a lot of grease. Far too much grease. Far too much grease. There's grease everywhere. I'm not going to clean that so much because that'll keep that from rusting out. But holy smokes, there's grease on everything, even the things that aren't supposed to be greasy. That wheel is gross. Rubber friction wheel should not have grease on it. The metal drive wheel should not have grease on it. I don't know what to say other than I have never seen that much grease in a snowblower. Usually there's not enough grease. Good news is all the stuff that's going to fly off and fling around has already done that, so we're just in cleaning mode. Let's get a couple of paper towels here, some brake clean. So you want to make sure that that rubber drive wheel is dry, clean and dry. Let's get her all the way to 1 gear, all the way either in 6th or reverse. There, we'll go that way first. Gives us some room to hit this. This is supposed to be clean and dry. That's not. And I'm going to go back all the way to reverse now. Full rewind. That's a lot of grease. Well, it wasn't going to rust out. And we get this side of the wheel. That's good. We'll spin that rubber wheel. Look at the black stripe. Now it is rubber, so you're going to get some black off of it, but at least now when the brake clean dries, it looks dry. There we go. Man, there was a lot in there. Well, it's good now. Beautiful. Well, good. Clean up on aisle 2. Let's get the belly pan back on there. There it is. So one thing I've done is I've already taken the model number off the... There. I've already taken the model number off of here and I recorded it. That way, in the future, if the customer who buys this off me decides he'd like to have me service it, I know exactly what machine he's got, what I've already done to it, all the parts I've put into it, any of the servicing that I've done to it, and I can look up parts by model for his machine. It's handy. I can download service manuals, get all the specs, all that happy stuff. Whoa. I've already aired up the tires. They were just a couple of pounds loose, a couple of pounds low. So the last thing I'm going to do is adjust the skid shoes because their scraper bar is getting hammered. Get over here. I'm just going to find a flat spot on the hoist here inside of my drop, so either side of this table will drop off, but the centerpiece is one piece. It's 30 inches wide or whatever, and it's pretty flat, so I'm just going to look to see. Oh, scraper bar is hard on the hoist, and the skid shoes are not touching the hoist. They're all the way up. So what I'm going to do, I can't get you guys in there, but I'm going to put a spacer about 1/8 of an inch, just 1/8 of an inch, underneath the scraper bar at either side. So it's under the scraper bar. Then I'm going to loosen the bolts for the skid shoes and drop the skid shoes so they touch the hoist. That should give you 1/8 of an inch of clearance from the scraper bar to the surface that you're cleaning. You're not supposed to scrape it to the cement. It's supposed to leave a little bit. An eighth of an inch is a good enough balance of clean that you can walk on it. It's safe to walk on an eighth of an inch of snow. It's not going to get in your shoes unless you're wearing Crocs or flip-flops or something. I don't know. But that's why we're going to do it. Eighth inch spacer on either side under the scraper bar itself, and then drop the shoes down. There we go. Recoil fixed. Drive serviced, checked and serviced, cleaned. Everything's working fine. It's well lubricated. It doesn't need any more for 18 more years. Oil's changed. Drive belts checked. Auger belts checked. Adjusted the tension for the auger belt because it was way too loose. The drive belt's fine. Aired up the tires. Straightened the hood. Adjusted the skid shoes. I broke off the hardware, of course, because it's rusty. So I put some 5/16 bolts in there with nylock nuts. Good to go. Yes. Let's spin them augers. I can't reach. Forward. Oh. Rewind. Oh. Augers. For the flapping. It's the auger belt. Like I said, the flappy noise from the auger belts is quite common on these machines. This style, the same. It's an MTD built machine. So they are all very similar to that. Where is the machine? There it is. You know, it's Craftsman glory. Thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Give the bell a dingle. It'll let you know when I upload new stuff. Nice, quick, flipper-upper. Till the next time, take care.